choice but to rely on seduction and misdirection. All my years working for the Terran Rebellion, and my Bajoran roots were still thrown in my face. The paw wraiths burned away weakness, burned away age, burned away mortality. The future would be mine.
Our forces have repelled a Terran scout force, but I believe a full-scale invasion from the Mirror Universe is imminent. We cannot allow them to take control of Bothell Station. The Mirror forces will open rifts from their universe. Close these rifts to keep their ships out. Science vessels can do this faster. The station's power systems were damaged in the initial assault. If you divert power from the secondary relays, we can channel it into our systems and bring defenses back online. Cruisers will complete this task more quickly. The more power you divert, the more quickly we can make our repairs. We are preparing an anti-tachyon pulse to close the rifts and send the ships back to their own universe, but it will take time to bring it online. During the invasion, you will need to protect the station from attack.
Hi everyone and welcome back to Let's Play Star Trek Online. Boy oh boy has this been a while. Well, I'm still in the Rainmaker, my ship that I did the 37k run in. I have surpassed that number recently. Even though I haven't played for a long time, I can still mash buttons, I suppose. And since we're talking about mashing buttons, it's the Mirror Universe event, isn't it? And I'm in a pickup group, and usually mashing buttons is pretty much all you can expect in this. So, just to give you guys a little bit of a taster of what is to come on STO, you will remember that I haven't finished pretty much any of the Iconian story, so we're going to be going through that, and we are also going to be going through the new Mirror Universe stuff as well, and I'm going to be updating the vast majority of my guides because they are, at least a couple of them are hideously out of date at this point. The objective in the Mirror Universe mission, this only goes on for about 20 days a year, but it's worth it just to get the extreme bonus. My apologies to anyone who has epilepsy looking at that. That is Destabilizing Resonance Beam. That is one of the most powerful abilities that a science captain has available. It is exclusive, I believe, only to science captains, so therefore we get a little bit of a bonus as far as that goes. But I mean, come on, science captains don't really get any love anywhere else in the game. Even Cryptic have come out and said that science vessels don't really sell that well. Well, if you didn't put out 5 of the damn things when you first introduced T6 ships, and then proceeded to just release new models of dreadnoughts every month, they might sell a bit better. But then again, I think they might have been aiming a little bit more at the Klingon side. I mean, who the hell wants to play a Klingon scientist anyway? But as I said, I have surpassed my 37k run, I believe. Not by much, it's only like 38.5, somewhere in that region, but it's still a decent amount of damage being thrown out. I'm not going to go through my build, this is more just a shoot 'em up job. The idea in the Mirror Universe event is to destroy the Terran ships coming in and close the rifts to avoid getting out overrun. Unfortunately, it looks like my teammates have kind of missed that a little bit about closing the rifts. I think the mistake that they're making in this one, I didn't notice this until the end when I was watching, I think that the vast majority of them are actually swarming together, and the Mirror Universe mission is a mission where you can't hunt in packs. You basically have to rely on your own damage potential. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, you can see I can just blow through absolutely anything here. There's nothing on normal that's a threat to me for sure. Advanced might be a little bit different, and in fact Mirror Universe Advanced is fairly well known for requiring a lot of coordination and basically being exceedingly annoying. One thing I could do here to avoid this messing around while I'm trying to close this rift, I could hit rock and roll, which is the pilot ability. That would give me temporary invulnerability, and the mirror ships wouldn't be able to hit me while I'm closing the rift. Being a science ship, I close rifts quicker than any other type of ship does. I'm doing my best to try and use tab to target ships here. Still, I'm rubbish at using keyboard shortcuts, but hey, get used to it. And unfortunately the targeting in the game is still a little bit wonky. I think it assumes I wanted to concentrate on the ship behind me that's targeting me. And here we go, another massive light show, pulling everything. And you'll notice that that's a cruiser that's just being ripped to pieces by that resonance beam. It's essentially a pulsing DPS that goes, I believe it goes through shields because it's kinetic damage. So it's basically pulsing DPS. And so the idea is you just grab everything up and put in a massive pulse and you just AoE everything down. The other option to do, you'll notice I have tractor beam repulsor on. That is option the second, which is tractor beam repulsor everything in sight. Because tractor beam repulsor does more damage. Certainly in pull mode it does more damage than the Gravwell does. And you can bunch stuff up just as nicely and hit them with a destabilizing graviton beam, and they will, pretty much everything will just die as per normal. But you can see here there's a huge amount of Terran ships on this side of the map, so I think that what's happening is my teammates are kind of swarming onto an area, and that's not helping. So just do my thing, just grab a few of these Terran ships to get their attention. You can see that the tractor beam repulsor is actually just ripping them to pieces rather than doing anything else. What really makes that great, if you can get it to happen right, is if you have a teammate who simply follows you around. You stick stuff in a tractor beam repulsor, drag it behind you, and that teammate just beams everything down, or top spreads threes them down, or just concentrates over. I'm trying to concentrate on closing at least some rifts here, because this will help in managing the numbers a bit. I mean, I can wipe them out because they're very easy, they're very easy to destroy, but I can't cover the entire map, so I'm just trying to get numbers down a little bit more manageable here. If you are a science ship in the mirror event, your job is close rifts as much as possible. Here we go, another light show, and you get the idea here where you can see that everything is getting pulled into one area. And obviously the great thing about pulling everything into one area that you can see there was that when a warp core breach goes off, it affects everything in that area. You basically get chained warp core breaches, which is always a good laugh to have. Looks like the majority of the mess has been cleared up now. This wasn't a particularly clean run, but it actually made for a fairly good video. For the reasoning behind that being, thank you very much to whoever threw a gravity well in there. That makes blowing these guys up a lot easier. It made for a better video because what can happen with the Mirror Universe event is that you can destroy everything with 5, 6, 7 minutes to go on the timer, and that leaves everything being fairly boring. You're literally just sitting around doing pretty much sweet FA while the enemies don't really spawn. They don't. Once you start closing enough of the rifts, the enemies don't spawn in any sort of major amount. I don't know what I've grabbed onto there, but at least it's something. I've only recently put tractor beam repulsor back on my ship, so I'm not really used to it. That was completely unnecessary, but it was extremely funny. You can see it's still pulsing there, so if those frigates had got a little bit too close, they would have ended up getting sucked into the more of that resonance beam. But there are definitely a couple of ways I can build this. Some exotic damage science builds actually get rid of Gravwell entirely, just so that they can use the tractor beam repulsor instead of Grabwell, so they can use a higher version of it, and that frees up the Lieutenant Sign slot for either another heal or maybe even a second copy of tractor beam repulsor, just at a lower rate. Really depends what you think your survivability is at. You'll notice that that is so painful. You'll notice that I'm using the assimilated engines and the assimilated shield. That isn't just because I want to speed routes around sector space, although it is very useful. I'm using it currently because I don't have the Iconian set, because I took a very extended break from the game and I haven't been grinding Iconian reputation marks at all. In fact, I only just finished the Iconian reputation, so it's going to be a little bit of time until I can get the full 4-piece Iconian set, which is pretty much the end game. So until then, I'm pretty much just making my ship as non-explodey as I can, because I can certainly throw damage out. There's no problem with that. You know, I'm comfortably above 30k and a half decent group. But it's certainly the case that my ship, if it grabs a little bit too much aggro, which is very possible if I fire out a massive AoE, it's pretty squishy overall because it's a science ship. One thing I am looking forward to, which will be coming in the coming weeks, is the winter event. I believe that the ship for the winter event is a Breen Dreadnought, and if the... how can I put this? If the stats on it are what was released on the blog back in sort of June and July, it is pretty much a universal scimitar, except it has a couple of it's probably missing just a couple of things that the scimitar is. So it's probably not quite on the level of a scimitar, because why would you make a free ship the same level as a scimitar? But it will be as close as you can probably get if you're not a Romulan. Speaking of a Romulan, I will be showing my Romulan character going through the new Cardassian arc, because that's been shown up, you know, that's been put forward, so I'm quite happy to do that. I haven't played it yet. She is level 60 now, exclusively through doffing and the new Admiralty system. I hope that you guys will enjoy, I hope you like your guides, because one of the guides that I am going to put up is a guide to the Admiralty system.
Firing anti-tachyon pulse. Defense relays are offline. It's working. The Terran ships are being forced back to their own universe. Massive energy spike detected. They're opening more rifts. In 3, Dreadnought coming 2, through. 1.
Well, before I was interrupted by a Dreadnought coming through the gate, I am going to release a guide to the Admiralty system. I'm also going to update my dilithium guides, and I'm also going to do a reputation guide, because there are very fast ways to get reputation, get up the reputation ladder. I think that's one of the more irritating parts of the game, or at least the more grindy parts of the game, and you don't need to do advanced or elite content in order to get to rank 5 in those reputations. You can do it fairly easily, and getting them all up as high as you can is a good idea, because again, it's a really cheap way to get hold of some dilithium. I think we're about to see unnecessary roughness if I just pop that cloak. Yep, everything getting in there, and that will be the end of that. The Science Captain's perk that allows you to crit with exotic damage means that that thing is just ridiculous. Now, obviously, I'm playing on normal, so everything's made of explodium, but even on advanced, that chucks out some very, very serious damage.
In 3, 2, 1.
Oh, looks like he's going to close that rift off for us. I'm not too interested. Oh, it appears that just by my mere presence, he decided to explode. I can't blame him, really. And the Dreadnought's trapped, so we got this. I'm just going to pop everything just because I think that this dreadnought deserves it. And that will be the end of this mirror invasion, and at least 110 Terran marks going to me. This is a great way to get Terran marks at the moment, guys. You can get to rank 5 really easily on the Terran ladder using this. And you don't need to play anything like the Battle Zone, which currently rewards next to no marks. But anyway, that will be that for this.
The Dreadnought has been destroyed, and the area is free of transdimensional portals. Thank you. Without your help, Valvel Station would have been lost.
It may have been, but the Terrans aren't really coming in that much force at the moment, but what's the betting that's going to change? Anyway, guys, it's good to be back to Star Trek Online, and sometimes you need a break, but I'm getting back into it, and hopefully more stuff on the way soon. This has been Boomer, and I'll see you next time.